me talk to you.
Biggest icon in wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me talk to you. Yeah.
Welcome. We are live for another episode of Let Me Talk to You, episode 37. Of course, my name is Frankie Fresco. And of course, I got my brother, almost didn't make it, DiTrapio. What's up, bro? How you holding up?
Good, man. This weather got me a little lazy, but I was trying to find my charger and I couldn't find my charger, but I'm here now, so I'm ready.
All right. If you still need some time, let me know, because I could always you could always come back. It's not a big deal. But we have a very exciting show to talk about. Of course, we have our predictions of the Miami Dolphins, our final predictions. We're going to be doing that tonight. We're also going to be going ahead and premiering our Miami Dolphins hype video. I'm excited about it. I worked on it, Nick. I worked on it the last couple of days, so I hope you like it. I hope you and a lot of you and everybody tunes in to that hype video I did for the Miami Dolphins, of course, for this year. So I'll be playing it during the Dolphins segment. As you can tell, I've been doing some work. You see the new background for NXT. Obviously, you will see some new backgrounds out there. I've been putting some time and effort on the podcast. I had a couple of days off, so I was like, you know what? Let me work on getting this
Very nice.
worked on. So I hope you guys like a couple of new features that we put on there, of course. And as you come on in, welcome, Steven Gonzalez. Thank you, brother, for coming in. What up, my brother? And also nice looking forward to tonight's show. I always appreciate you coming on and tuning in. And that goes to everybody else also following us on X and on Twitch and on Facebook. This last week we had trouble with my X. I have no idea why, but we're back to being able to have it live stream on X. So I hope you guys who want to tune in, if you can't tune in on YouTube, you're more than welcome to tune in on X as well. But let's go ahead and start off. Well, let me give you the timeline of what we're going to be talking about. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about NXT. Obviously, we have a lot to talk about when it comes to NXT. And then after NXT, we'll be talking about the Miami Dolphins. Of course, we'll be previewing our hype video for the Miami Dolphins. I hope you guys are excited just like I am. And then, of course, we'll go ahead and talk and give our predictions as far as what we think is going to happen this season with the Miami Dolphins. And then a lot of injuries, popped up on the injury front for the Miami Dolphins. Of course, we also will go ahead and unfortunately recap a tough weekend in college football. A couple of obviously my team, the Gators, and then my brother's team, the Florida State Seminoles, did not have a good weekend. Unlike Sean Stanley, as you could tell, he's already on the chat board talking smack already, saying "Go Canes." Yes, sir. And you know what I mean, Frankie. Yeah, I get the U references. Thank you very much, sir. And then we'll recap obviously the college weekend. Tough week for us, Gator and Seminole fans. And congratulations to the UM fans. And then at the end, we'll go ahead and we'll talk a little bit about soccer or any other topic we want to talk about. But let's talk a little bit. Let's start off with, of course, NXT. And sure, it happened this past weekend on Sunday. No mercy. First and foremost, talk to me, sir. Did you get to watch it, or did you see some of the highlights of what happened this past weekend?
I saw a couple of highlights. Most importantly, the main event, which is Ethan Page and Joe Hendry. Um, and it was exciting. I mean, NXT keeps on bringing these good wrestling matchups. You know, they're not putting it out there on random Wednesdays like other wrestling federations. So it's good to see that NXT is building this momentum for each wrestler. And I think this isn't the end for Joe Hendry, nor for Trick or for Ethan.
Yeah, I mean, so let's do a quick recap of what the results were. Of course, let me go one by one with these matches. So first and foremost, we had the NXT Tag Team Championship. It started with that. That was the first fight, and it was Andre Chase and Rich Holland versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom. And of course, I picked Chase U, and I don't did I write them down? I think I write. I no, I don't think I wrote them down. I don't think I wrote down our choices. I don't know if you remember who you chose, but I know on my picks I went 3-3 on the
I
NXT
think I
number.
went with Chase U as well, just because I thought that they weren't going to lose the belt so quickly.
I thought so too, man. And unfortunately, they threw us a wrench there, and they went with XCM and Nathan Frazier winning. But you know, if you guys tuned into yesterday's NXT, you will see that it makes all sense because Rich Holland had a segment last night where he was actually in the classroom. So what happened in NXT No Mercy was obviously Nathan Frazier and Axiom won, but you also had the turn of Rich Holland. He went ahead, he beat down Andre Chase. Andre Chase is at the hospital trying to recover. And what ended up happening last night was that Rich Holland was at the actual classroom of Chase U, and he went and vowed and explained the reason why he turned. He was saying that Duke Hudson did not believe in him, that a lot of the people from Chase U did not believe in him, and he was tired and was sick of it. And then he had given them opportunities to win the championship, the tag team belts, and they lost them. And it wasn't until him and Andre Chase teamed up and they finally won it, but then they lost, and he felt like Andre Chase's mediocrity led to the defeat of them at No Mercy, and he was gonna go ahead and, of course, take down Chase U one by one. And because of that, Duke Hudson actually responded. And now we have this for next week. We have Rich Holland versus Duke Hudson, 1-on-1. Duke Hudson defending the I guess you could say the Chase U heart out there, while Rich Holland is trying to get payback and trying to go ahead and just teach him a lesson for being not to his level. Sir, talk to me, man. What are you happy that they went this route, or are you a little bit disappointed that they went this route?
Man, I'm a little disappointed. I think they had a great team. I felt like he was a great leader, but they want to throw a curveball at us, and so I don't really agree with this being having this U-turn so quickly. But hey, if it creates a pop, so be it. We can't judge and criticize what NXT is doing right now. There's a lot going on, so maybe there's something that they see that we don't. So we'll find out.
For me, I think it was a little bit disappointing. I honestly did not like the fact that they turned Rich Holland and he turned on Chase U. I thought the turn was gonna be from Duke Hudson, and it's a little bit different if you would have seen Duke become a heel because it's always been with Chase U pretty much. So it's a little bit kind of like I wanted something a little bit different. I wanted Duke Hudson to be the heel in this case, and I wanted Rich to kind of take over Duke Hudson's role, especially since he was able to capitalize and get the belts. Unfortunately, they didn't go that route, and now they're going this route where Rich Holland is gonna go ahead and try to like destroy Chase U, and his first victim is Duke Hudson, and I don't know. Like I said, I like the match, but I wish it would have been the roles reversed. I wish it was Duke Hudson as the heel and Rich Holland representing Chase U. I thought that would have made for a more exciting role. And I wish I wish that Duke Hudson would have been the one who probably would have cost, obviously, Rich Holland and Chase and Andre Chase the tag team belts, because then you could have done this. So I'm 50-50. You know, I like the turn. I wish it would have been Duke Hudson. I would have liked to have seen Duke as the heel and see what he's capable of doing. Even though I'm not gonna lie, Rich Holland did go last night and destroyed Duke Hudson's championship trophy. So he went on in, he stepped on it, and he broke it, and it's it was a powerful segment, I could say, for sure. So that was at least a saving grace. The other matches that happened in No Mercy was um we had the Wes Lee facing TNA Division Champion Zachary Wentz from the Rascals. A little bit of a shocker. Wesley lost, and now Zachary Wentz had the opportunity to go and go after win a tag team match yesterday, and they did. They actually did go ahead, and the Rascals actually were able to win. So now what we're getting next week for NXT is actually the Rascals going for the NXT Tag Team Championship, Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Sir, we've been talking about this for the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Is it finally the moment that a TNA wrestler, in this case, a tag team, actually wins an NXT belt on NXT?
Nah, nah, man.
You're shaking your head like, no, you don't see it. You don't see it
Nah.
happening.
Right now, Nathan Frazier and Axiom, they seem unbeatable. Like they're literally like the most greatest comeback, tag team partnership. Like it's just weird. At first they looked unbeatable, then they looked like they weren't connecting at all. Then it looked like they were about to separate, and now out of nowhere they recouped and they regrouped, and so now it seems like it may. Honestly, maybe I'm wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if these two guys are tag team champions for the next couple of weeks.
I
Probably
mean,
months.
they keep teasing us with Nathan Frazier and Axiom breaking up, but they lost the belts against Chase U, then they were able to recover it, and now they're defending the belts against the Rascals. I like the Rascals, but the problem here is I just don't see it just yet. A TNA wrestler, or in this case, a tag team, go ahead and win NXT belts. I just don't see it. I think if WWE decides to do and give belts to a TNA wrestler, it has to be a significant moment. And the only significant moments that I could possibly see is either a live event or aka a pay-per-view for them, or when they officially move to the CW and we have those two special shows where obviously CM Punk and Randy Orton will be making their appearances. So the first one in Chicago and then the next one in St. Louis. So that's the only I would say dates that I would see a TNA wrestler win an actual NXT belt. So I don't see this actually being a loss for XCM and Nathan Frazier next week. So but we will definitely see.
Honestly, I'll be pissed if I was Wesley. I'll be pissed. I'll leave NXT and go to AEW because they're treating him like a stepchild, bro.
Well, I mean, he betrayed Zachary Wentz and the Rascals. So it wasn't like they kicked him out. He betrayed them, That was the whole point. Now that you're talking about Wesley, we don't know which route they're gonna go, but do you like the heel Wesley or do you prefer the babyface Wesley? Because I personally I like the heel Wesley. I think you got to give him a shot as a heel. He's always been a baby, so I think the heel Wesley will probably get the most out of him.
I like the baby face because it just seems more natural. Like when he was trying to explain why he did the betrayal on his own team, it just sounded weak. It didn't sound assertive, and it just sounded like they were just trying to plug in a story that hope it would work out for Wesley. And honestly, it was completely awkward for me. Maybe for some other people they liked it, but I did not like it at all. It was kind of like another Carmelo 2.0, and it didn't work out because they had the same setting. You know, they dimmed down the lights, they had the center light stage on him, and then he's there I don't want to say complaining, but just, you know, voicing out his frustration and the reasons for what he did. But man, it just did not, it just did not sit with me well. So I was like, yo, continue with the baby face. You know, that's what he was. That was kind of the reason why we were always trying to find out when was he ever going to come back. Because wasn't he the one that announced that he had like a back injury, and then he had to go sit down for a couple of months, and that's when he was a baby face. That's when everyone was like, you know, people were cheering for him, cheering for his comeback. But now, man, I don't know. This is he's in a very awkward position right now. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. He keeps losing left and right. I I just I think TK. I think aside from Ricochet, I think is your time to go after Wesley.
Well, Sean obviously stating here Zach Wentz was part of NXT before, and they had him, and they had to let him go because of some personal issues. But Shawn Michaels was always a big fan of his. I agree. You could tell that he does like Zachary Wentz, but like I said, I think the Rascals are eventually gonna win, but I just don't see it happening next week. It has to be like in a significant show, in my opinion. As far as Wesley, we'll see, man. I mean, I think you got to give him a shot as a heel, in my opinion, and we'll see where Wesley goes from here. The other matches that we had on No Mercy, we had Kalani Jordan versus Wendy Chu. Wendy Chu lost. Kalani Jordan was able to win. That also created some issues because then this girl came out. No,
Julia.
no. So we're gonna get to that. No, the one who came out for this match was Tatum Paxley. So Tatum
Mhm.
Paxley came out and assaulted her, and I think if I'm not mistaken, now all of a sudden last night we had Liva Valkyria come back. So Liva Valkyria is back in NXT. Obviously, she's not 100% back NXT. She's kind of like, I guess she's splitting time, but she's now back helping her out as well. So now the cool part about this is we're getting a little bit of Liva Valkyria back in the NXT world. Now the one that you're talking about, sir, is definitely the one that we all kind of predicted, which was Roxanne Perez
Hmm.
going against Jada Parker, and Jada Parker ended up losing. But we had finally the premiere of Gulia coming out and making her debut in NXT. Now NXT didn't do such a good job when it comes to making her everybody knew she was signing with WWE. So she obviously last night finally made her appearance in NXT and has gone ahead and issued a challenge to Roxanne Perez on the first NXT on the CW. So that's the match we're probably gonna get, which is gonna be Gulia versus Roxanne Perez on the first episode of the CW. Of course, the main event. Oh, but before we go to the main event, the other match that was there on No Mercy was Obafemi versus Tony D'Angelo. You got that one right, Nick. You went with Obafemi. I went with Tony D'Angelo. I remember that one. That was one of the ones I was thinking of an upset. But the main event, of course, was Ethan Page and Joe Henry. And if you guys remember, or if you guys tuned in on No Mercy, it ended with Ethan Page kind of giving well, he gave Joe Henry a low blow, and then Joe Henry ended up getting pinned with Trick Williams hesitant to count him out. But we also had Trick Williams get attacked by Pete Dunne. And then they had scheduled a fight last night for a fight between Pete Dunne and Trick Williams. But these guys were so hardcore and were so going at it that they didn't care of fighting outside the ropes. And what ended up happening? They ended up being counted out. There was a scene right here where both Trick Williams and Pete Dunne, they climbed on top on this section right here. Let me try this. So this section up here, they jumped from there and they landed on the table. And unfortunately, the referee counted them out, and they weren't able to settle the score. So what did Ava go ahead and do? Ava, of course, said, you know what? There's only one way to settle the score between these two because they just don't like each other whatsoever, and that is, of course, the last man standing. So next week we get Trick Williams versus Pete Dunne, last man standing, and then the winner of this match will then meet up and go one-on-one against Ethan Page for the championship belt. Sir, now are we finally gonna get a winner in this? Obviously, we should get a winner, but who do you think should deserves to win it? Should Trick Williams go ahead and deserve this victory and go once again against Ethan Page, or do you think Pete Dunne will win this match and finally Pete Dunne will have an opportunity to win the NXT belt?
Man, I'm not lying to you. I have a weird feeling that Pete Dunne's gonna come out winning out of this one.
Okay. You know what? For me, I thought you were gonna say Trick. I agree with you, bro. I honestly want Pete Dunne to win this. I think Trick Williams doesn't need the belt, and Ethan Page already beat him once. Obviously, it wasn't the most honest way of beating him, but he still beat him. And I think Pete Dunne deserves it. He's been a heel. He's been a very strong heel, attacking Trick Williams consistently every week, and even at No Mercy. So I think this one we're gonna get. I personally feel Pete Dunne is gonna be the winner on this one, and I guess we see the same. I don't. I hope we get it right. I don't think, like I said, I don't think Trick Williams deserves the. He doesn't need the belt. Trick Williams, everybody loves Trick Williams, so he doesn't need the belt. I think this was a good one for Pete Dunne to actually show himself and be able to represent NXT for a little minute. He's been doing a good job over there. So
Yeah.
definitely an exciting week for NXT next week. And one last thing, a surprise announcement that happened. And like I said, you guys are gonna be like, damn, Frank keeps repeating it. Our topics usually on the NXT have been, hey, will an NXT wrestler a champion lose a belt to a TNA wrestler? Well, sir, next week, Jordan Grace, the TNA wrestler, announced that she will be on NXT and has issued an open challenge for her belt. So, sir, talk to me. Do you see that maybe we're not ready for a TNA wrestler to take an NXT belt? But do you feel that maybe an NXT wrestler will win this match and take the TNA belt from Jordan Grace?
That's interesting.
I got your speechless out here.
That's interesting. That's a very interesting move.
Do you
I
think?
would I'll probably say no. I think she'll find a way to win just so that they can show the dominance of why she's a champion. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're flirting the idea of a TNA champion going ahead and winning another belt in NXT and then having a double champ. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't see any TNA wrestler winning if they don't have gold around their waist. If it's from NXT, if it's from TNA, you get what I'm saying?
So you're saying, like, for example, if Joe Henry had the TNA belt and then he would challenge Ethan Page, he would have a better shot at beating Ethan Page because then he could hold both belts. That's not a bad theory.
Because it just shows you that not just anyone from TNA can come in and win a belt, right? It has to be the best out of the best in order and maybe they don't even have to win the belt. Just win a match versus Ethan Page some way, somehow. I think, or for Jordan Grace. I think it's just showing that they're not people who are like less than NXT wrestlers. So I just feel like in order for a TNA to win another belt, they need to have gold around them already based off on TNA. That's just me, though.
No, I like the concept, and when it comes to Jordan Grace, I think she's gonna obviously she's opened open door challenge to anybody. I think obviously somebody I'm hoping we get somebody big. I don't want like a kind of like a slow or like a up and comer. I'm pretty sure that's what they're gonna do. But I would like to see like a Lola Vice or a the girl Jada Parker who just fought against Roxanne. I would like to see her go against one of those to challenge Jordan Grace. I still want Jordan Grace to defend her belt, her TNA belt, and win. but I would like to see that type of matchup against one of those heavy hitters over there in the NXT world. But I agree with you. I don't see Jordan Grace losing her belt. And the only thing I do see is if Jordan Grace was to lose her belt, it would have to be to like a Roxanne, who at this time obviously is the NXT women's champion, or vice versa.
Correct.
Jordan Grace would go ahead and face Roxanne, and then she would beat Roxanne, and then she would hold both belts. I will say this: if I have to compare one with the other, I do feel that Jordan Grace, if you're kind of comparing one with the other, I do feel Jordan Grace is a stronger women's champion than Roxanne. Not because of I guess I would say that because of her physique. Jordan Grace is just a beast. If you look at her, she's built more bigger. She's taller than Roxanne. She just looks a lot heavier. She looks like that she could beat Roxanne. But again, I know I don't want to discourage or kind of put down Roxanne. I think Roxanne is a great champion for NXT as well. I just feel Jordan Grace is just a stronger champion in my opinion, and I think that's one of the reasons why you keep seeing you keep seeing Joe Henry, you keep seeing some of these people, some of these wrestlers that I think WWE really likes and pushing them over to the NXT because they want to showcase them a lot more over there. So, but we'll see. It should be very exciting. Next week we'll definitely keep it. For next week we'll keep in mind what happens, and of course, we'll go ahead and remind you guys, of course, once we move on to the CW. Do keep in mind that there is going to be some changes. So do expect Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and NXT to all be shown on the USA Network. And hopefully they'll do it big for all three shows, because now they're going to be on the USA at least for a couple of weeks until obviously NXT moves on to the CW. All right, sir. Well, sir, it's that time. It's that time to go ahead and hit that subscribe and hit that like, of course. And then obviously it's that time to talk a little bit about the Miami Dolphins. And there it is. Let me see if I could kind of like edit a little bit here. Let me see if I could let me see if, and you guys are more than welcome to comment if you like my new backgrounds I've done here. Let me see if I could go ahead and show you guys a little bit of what I did here, so that way you could see what I'm doing. So let me see. Actually, this is what I'll do. Hold on a second, guys. Discard. So I'll remove my brother, I'll remove myself, and this is the back. So that's the background. That way you guys can see. I know it was a little bit quick. So that is the new Dolphins background. It looks like my brother disappeared. I have no idea where he went. But it's that moment. I think you guys all want to see the hype video of the Miami Dolphins. Let me know if you do. If you do want to see that hype video, hit that like and also put it on a chat board. It's that time. You guys tell me if you like it or not. Again, 2024, the Miami Dolphins hype video. Let's do it. Let's show it.
This is my time. I'm on the rise. Can't hold me down, I'm too fly. This is my time. Ready to shine. Brighter than all of the lights. Cause when it's game time, seconds away and the game's on the line. There ain't no doubt in my mind. Beating the buzzer like, this is my time. This is my moment. You better bet that I'm on it. Ready and set, I'ma own it. Blast it to 10, then keep going. There ain't no coasting. I never settle, don't play. Putting the kettle to flame.
I think something that's special about this team is there's less of people pointing fingers at other people and a lot of people hurting, thinking about what more they could have done. I know that damn sure includes myself.
The Miami Dolphins, there are teams in this league that no matter what they do this year, they are not going to win the Super Bowl. They are not going to have a shot to win the Super Bowl. The Miami Dolphins are not like that.
the 2024 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Chop Robinson, linebacker, Penn State.
We're going to Miami!
Yes, sir. That was the hype video of the Miami Dolphins 2024 season. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be going ahead and posting it on my social media as well, on X and on Instagram. Talk to me, Nick. Did you like it? Did you like my hype video of the Miami Dolphins this year?
Man, I loved it, bro. It just showed, you know, the excitement, the buildup for the season. You know, we've been waiting for this moment now for 8 months. It's finally down to this week. We've had our pre predictions, and man, I'm ready, bro. This, you know, for a lot of you wrestlers out there, I'm sorry, a lot of you football fans out there. My brother and I, we've been season ticket holders for a while. This is our 10th year, so hopefully this year, not only is it special to us, but hopefully this year is the special year, you know?
Absolutely, man. Now, there is a downfall, though. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here, but there is a downfall. Unfortunately, if you don't got parking pass for the Miami Dolphins, it's going to be a little bit pricey out there. They did raise the price for parking. If you're going to go ahead and go and check out the Miami Dolphins, just be aware that pricing for parking is $80 now. So it's a little bit to it. They doubled it. Last year was 40. Now it's all of a sudden 80. So if you can't find any parking, if you're gonna go to the game, make sure you have you Uber. At this point in time, I think it's cheaper to even Uber or take the shuttle bus. They have other shuttle bus locations where you could actually get the shuttle and then make your way over there. Sean is saying, nice video, my man. Where the Gators hype video? Sir, we didn't bring a Gators hype video, but we do have a special background for all the college football for this season. I did create a college football background, so tune in for that. We're going to talk about college football right after we finish talking about the Dolphins. Of course, me and my brother, we tend to do it. You guys probably say, like, man, Frankie and DiTrapio are always doing these damn predictions over and over again. But that's how we are, man. We love to do predictions. That's just us to see if we want to go ahead and change our decision when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. Here we go, sir. Here we go. We're going to go one by one. And this is our final stance when it comes to the Miami Dolphins and what we think the Miami Dolphins will do. So I have it pulled up. Week 1, this Sunday, 1 o'clock. It's going to be shown on CBS and Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus at the Hard Rock Stadium. 1 o'clock start. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Miami Dolphins. DiTrapio, I'm going to write here DiTrapio. I'm going to write here Fresco. Sir, we'll start. We're gonna go one by one. So you'll do one, and then I'll give you my option, and then we'll take turns that way, one by one. So we'll start with you, sir. Jacksonville against the Dolphins. We spoke about this. We said, hey, is it dangerous? This is a dangerous game. What will the Dolphins do? Is it a possibility that the Dolphins can actually lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars? And if the Dolphins lose to Jacksonville Jaguars, are the Dolphin fans gonna panic? Sir, do you see the Jacksonville Jaguars upsetting the Miami Dolphins this weekend?
You know, this is a state rivalry match. And my only concern is first game jitters for our coordinator Anthony Weaver on the defensive side. But we have a really good veteran group of men defensively that are going to handle the pressure. And I do see the Dolphins pulling out a dub in this game. So, yes, I'm going with the Dolphins.
All right. So you are going with the Dolphins. So you have the Dolphins starting 0-1. Or I'm sorry, 1-0. Sir, I saw the lineup. I saw the injuries. I saw what's going on with Dolphins. I'm a true Dolphin lover, but at the same time, I'm also a realist. And I have the feeling the Miami Dolphins are going to lose this game. I don't know why. My gut instinct is telling me that the Dolphins are gonna pull a Dolphin like type of performance of a late in December. And I actually have the Dolphins losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I have them going 0-1 to begin. Now, before we continue, I just wanted to let you know that on our pre predictions, I have it here. Nick had DiTrapio had it 12-5, and I had the Dolphins going 10-7. So yes, Steven, I am going with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have the feeling the Jacksonville Jaguars will upset the Miami Dolphins this weekend. But we'll see. All right. Now we move on. We have a short week right after, and it's of course Thursday night football prime time. It's gonna be on Prime Video, so you need to subscribe to Amazon Prime. If you could be a cheater just like I do. If they're not well, they should show it locally. But if you don't get a chance to watch it locally, or if you're outside of Florida and you're watching a Dolphins game, what you could do is you could subscribe to Prime, right? You subscribe to Prime for that day, and then all of a sudden the next day you cancel it. You unsubscribe. So then what happens? They'll only charge you like $1. And then all of a sudden you don't have to keep, Prime for the whole damn time. That's what I do. That's sorry, Prime. Sorry, Amazon. I gotta keep it real with you guys. I do once in a while keep Prime for Amazon Prime for a while, but that's kind of what I do. I'll go first on this one. Thursday night, 8:15, Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, Hard Rock Stadium. I have the Miami Dolphins going into this game pissed off because they lost against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they don't want to start 0-2. So I have the Dolphins beating the Buffalo Bills. I think Mike White giving the Buffalo Bills all of Tua's secrets will not be enough for the Buffalo Bills, and the Dolphins win. So I got the Dolphins winning against Buffalo. What about you, sir?
I'm not lying to you, sir. This might be a rainy game. Depending on how the weather's looking for us for next week. It's been for all you viewers that are watching from outside of South Florida, it's been raining a lot lately. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a rainy game. I do still see the Dolphins handling business here. Buffalo has injuries in different positions, and it's kind of giving them, a little bit of a weakness. This won't be a blowout. I think this is going to be a nail biter. I see this game going really, 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 really close, but I do see the Dolphins winning by a field goal. And we'll finally, move on from this whole Josh Allen's our I guess our daddy. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe, I guess. Steven, I am keeping count. So I'm writing your predictions as well. So I'm keeping us three right now. Since you're writing on the chat board what you think. So
it's just that Josh Allen right now, man, I just don't know who Josh Allen's gonna throw to, I have a feeling he's gonna be the first quarterback to run 2,000 yards as a quarterback. So
we'll see. All right, week three. Week 3 is a Sunday night, 4:05 Eastern. We're in Seattle, so we're heading out to the West Coast. This game will be shown on CBS. It's presented by Avianca. Shout out to Avianca for representing out there. Colombia, baby. Airlines for Colombia. Sir, we go with you. What do you think the Dolphins will do against the Seattle Seahawks?
This is a tricky one. This is in an AFC type of team. This is now going on to the West Coast, the West Side. And do I see the Dolphins still losing this game? Nah. Even though Seattle has a great team, I feel like this is going to continue the defense to kind of know the rhythm, the playbook, the aggressiveness that Anthony Weaver wants to show. And I still see the Dolphins winning this game. I'm not lying to you. This won't be a blowout either. I think this is gonna be a close game. I see the Dolphins winning by a touchdown. Something like maybe 24-17 type of game.
Okay, sounds good. On my end, I agree with you. I think the Miami Dolphins will fly out to Seattle, and I think they'll handle business. This is also a good early matchup for the Dolphins to kind of solidify themselves that they could handle the West Coast. And they did it last year against the Chargers. So I think they're going to do the same with Seattle. I don't see Seattle as a powerhouse. I think Seattle's a decent team, but I think Miami's a better team than Seattle. So I do see the Dolphins winning. So I have the Dolphins going and winning this one and starting the season at 2-1 to begin. Steven, let me know what you think are the Dolphins are going to do in week 3, and I'll write it down as well. Week 4, sir. Week 4. Very important game. It's on ESPN because it is on Monday Night Football, 7:30 Eastern. This is a game where DiTrapio will not be in attendance, unfortunately. DiTrapio will not be in attendance. Your boy Frankie Fresco will be there. So I will be representing the Miami Dolphins fan base, at least for the Let Me Talk to You podcast. We'll be out there. I'll go with my prediction since I'm going to be out there. You're leaving me high dry. And yes, unfortunately, it is being sponsored by the University of Miami. Unfortunately, of course. Anyways, we could ignore the little U thing right here on the right side. I have the feeling the Dolphins will go ahead and redeem themselves, and I have the Miami Dolphins beating the Tennessee Titans on Monday Night Football. I have the Dolphins winning and being 3-1 by week 4. Talk to me, Nick. What do you got?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a game where Mike McDaniel has to definitely remind people that he knows how to right his wrongs, and he's going to run the shit out of the ball in this game. And I have the Dolphins beating the shit out of the Tennessee Titans. Don't know how much, but I see them beating them by big.
All right. Now let's go to week 5. In week 5, we have one of our rivals, the new and improved New England Patriots, not Bill Belichick-led team. It's now being ran by a new coach, new offense, new mentality. This coach actually goes and actually talks to the media, unlike Bill Belichick. Sir, it is on Fox, 1 o'clock Eastern. It is being sponsored by Opti Brand. Who do you got? And it's in New England. Sorry.
Tua continues to dominate the Patriots. I don't see them losing this game at all.
Okay, very straightforward and very straight to the point. He's like, screw it. All right. So you got Gerard Mayo, the new coach of the New England Patriots, new mindset, new mentality, but still making dumb mistakes by putting Jacoby Brissett out there. I agree with you, sir. I have the Dolphins beating the New England Patriots. You can't pick Jacoby Brissett over your rookie quarterback that you just drafted. This ain't college, baby. You can't sit him on the bench. You got to put him as a starter. He's definitely better than Jacoby Brissett. If he's not better than Jacoby Brissett, then there's no point of you. You should have never drafted him. If you agree, like I think that's a bad decision by Mayo. I hope he continues to play Jacoby Brissett because Jacoby Brissett sucks in my eyes. So we'll just go with that. We'll say that Gerard Mayo will make the same mistake, just like Bill Belichick, and the Miami Dolphins will go ahead and take that win. So going into the bye week, we have DiTrapio with a 5-0 start for the Dolphins. Me, myself, Frankie Fresco has the Dolphins 4-1. And Steven, I'm keeping calm, writing you down. I see it on the chat board. I got you 5-0 as well. So the Dolphins take a quick break on week 6. We all get to relax. We get to not worry about the Miami Dolphins. And then we move on to week 7, where we face the Indianapolis Colts at Indianapolis. This is at Lucas Oil Stadium. It doesn't show us who's presented by, so I can't give you that. But this one is also on Fox, and it's at 1 o'clock. And I'll go and make my prediction first. So this is a scary one because the Dolphins are going to be going up against a team that you really don't know what you're going to get. They could be a contender. They could not be a contender. Of course, one of the reasons why the Indianapolis Colts would probably be a contender is because they have their quarterback. Of course, you know who we're talking about. We're talking about an actual Florida Gator fan that actually a Florida Gator player that actually did a pretty decent job when he was in Florida, and that's Anthony Richardson. So, do I see the Miami Dolphins losing at Indianapolis? No, I still think the Miami Dolphins find a way to win. And I think in week 7, the Miami Dolphins pull a victory against the Indianapolis Colts and move on to 5-1. What about you, sir?
I mean, right now, history shows that the Dolphins have a really good high percentage winning when it comes to coming from a bye. Um, but I don't know. I feel like this game is going to be a close one, and I have the Colts beating us in this game. I think this is where there's going to be a moment where things are just not going to be right. People are not going to look normal as usual, and I have a feeling the Dolphins are going to slip this one out.
Okay. All right. So we are now tied together 5-1, 5-1. Steven, I see you on the chat board. You're saying 6-0. So you think the Dolphins are still going to be undefeated heading into week 8. And in week 8, we have another test. Another team that could be pretty decent or could be a team that just really sucks. And of course, it all depends on Arizona's quarterback. Um, if Arizona can get their shit together and actually be a contender, then maybe they can threaten. But it's all on Kyle Murray. Are we gonna get the good quality Kyle Murray, or are we gonna get a Kyle Murray that's kind of shitty? We don't know. But the good thing about this is that this game is in South Florida at Hard Rock Stadium, 1 o'clock. It's being shown again on Fox. So Fox is showing a lot of love to the Miami Dolphins this year. And it's presented by Verizon. Not my phone. That's not the company that I do my business with when it comes to the phone, but I know they do a great service. Sir, talk to me. I went with Indianapolis, so we'll go with this one with you. I'm sorry, I did the Indianapolis pick first, so we'll go with you. Arizona, sir. Do the Miami Dolphins win it, or do the Miami Dolphins lose?
Nah, man. I think Dolphins are gonna find a way. I mean, we did see a classic about 3 years ago when it came to Arizona and the Dolphins, but I have a strange feeling that Arizona, even though they still have Kyler Murray, Dolphins are gonna find out if this is really gonna be a really big competition. This around this time of the season, we should have Bradley Chubb back. We should have OBJ back. We should have some players coming back. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the game where they present OBJ and they say, "Hey, man, OBJ is good to go."
Damn, you're making it seem like OBJ is gonna take at least 8 weeks before he actually hits the field. That's interesting. I agree with you. Not in the OBJ that he'll be hitting for. I think he'll hit the field. Hopefully sooner than that. But I do agree that we will go ahead and beat Arizona. I just don't see that Arizona team still being a contender. Think Kyle Murray is a great quarterback, but he's too just up and down, and you don't know what to expect. And when you're coming to South Florida in a hostile territory, it's 1 o'clock. This game is in October, so it still might be maybe just a tab hot down here, especially how the weather has been kind of crazy.
Sir, the summer never ends here, bro. It's gonna be
Yeah, it's
hot.
right. The weather is kind of going crazy in South Florida. Well, not only in South Florida, everywhere. So I think it might still be a little bit warm down here. It could be cold. It should be. It should be at least a decent temperature, but I think it's still going to be hot. I think Arizona's going to feel it. I think Arizona's not going to be able to handle the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins win and they move on to 6-1. So right now, going into week 9, we have DiTrapio 6-1, Fresco 6-1, and Steven has the Dolphins going undefeated 7-0. I really do hope so, Steven, that's the case. All right. Next we move on to week 9. So week 9, we have Sunday, November the 3rd, 1 o'clock. This game is on CBS. This game is at Buffalo Highmark Stadium. Sir, we've been there for the cold games. This game is going to be a chilly one. This is going to be a cold one. This is in November. It's not going to be freezing cold, hopefully, but it does seem like it's going to be a kind of cold one for us. I think here is not a good scenario for the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins stagger a little bit and they end up losing their second game. I have them splitting with the Buffalo Bills, and I have the Dolphins falling to 6-2. What about you, sir?
Yeah, the Dolphins haven't won in Buffalo since, if I'm not mistaken, 2016 or 2016, since that last when Jay Ajayi ran for like 200 and something yards. That's the last time the Bills ever lost against the Dolphins in Buffalo. So yeah, I see this as an L. I see this series being split 1-1.
Okay, definitely. And there it is. There's the man of the hour, Mr. No Doubt. I know you're hurting. I appreciate you coming to the show and on the chat board. I know you're a Knowles. We're gonna talk about them. Unfortunately, they've been struggling just like the Gators. All right, let's move on. Now, week 10. So week 10, our records are 6-2, 6-2, 7-1. Steven was 7-1. All right, so now we at Los Angeles. So we head back to the West Coast. I was in Los Angeles about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but this is gonna be a Los Angeles Rams team that's gonna be competitive, and I honestly feel that. Oh, and this game is also is on ESPN, and it's a Monday night game, 8:15 at night. SoFi Stadium, sir, very very beautiful stadium out there. It's being presented by Peels. I have no idea what that is, but as you can tell, it's being presented by Peels. I have the Miami Dolphins taking another L after this one. So I have them going back to back with the losses. I think they would not bounce back from that Buffalo game. I do not see them bouncing back with Los Angeles. So I have them losing back to back. I have the Dolphins falling to 6-3. What about you, sir? What do you got them going against the Rams?
This is an interesting one. This is where we need to know because usually when the Dolphins hit November-ish, that's when kind of like, injuries start to happen. We've had an early bye week. But to be honest with you, I don't know about you, sir, but I have a feeling that the Dolphins are going to find a way to win this game, and they're going to beat the Los Angeles Rams on Monday Night Football.
Okay, so you have the Dolphins beating the Rams. All right, so you have the Dolphins. Okay, so now I'm going to do a quick recap. Compared to last year, right? Obviously, Steven, we didn't have you on the chat board not last year. I'm talking about a couple months ago when we did our predictions. Our last prediction, going into week 11, I had the Dolphins 7-2. This time around, I have them 6-3. You had them 6-3, and now you are at 7-2. So you feel the Dolphins are improving from what you have seen from the time that we did our predictions the first time. All right, week 11. And week 11 is another interesting matchup. And this time is against the Las Vegas Raiders. It's happening here in South Florida. But of course, we get an individual that made a big impact, I think, in my opinion, for the Dolphins. And unfortunately, we gave him up. We couldn't afford him. It was too much money. We couldn't come to an agreement with him. So he had to go. And that is Christian Wilkins. CBS, 1 o'clock Sunday, November the 17th. This is being presented by Solus Health. What is it? Health plans. I guess it says health plans. Sir, Las Vegas Raiders against the Dolphins. Who you got?
Raiders defensively look pretty legit. Offensively, they're in a weird position right now with their quarterback that was playing pretty well last year. I forgot his name. I think it's AJ something. And now Gardner Minshew is now the starting quarterback, or is about to win the starting quarterback. So right now that quarterback position is just in a weird flux. So yeah, I agree with Steven. I see the Dolphins winning this game.
Steven says the Raiders are still trash, so he has the Dolphins going 9-1. Nick has the Dolphins winning. That would make it 8-2. And I have the Dolphins winning as well. I think it's at home. It's in Miami. I think it's going to be nice to see Christian Wilkins back, but I feel Dolphins are going to take it to the Raiders. They don't want to see Mr. Wilkins beat us. So I have the feeling that we will go ahead and take that win and move on and be 7-3. Now, we move on to week 12. And in week 12, again, we have a Sunday. afternoon game, 1:00. This one is in Hard Rock Stadium. This is being shown on CBS. And of course, it is being presented by Broxell. I hope I said that right. Sir, I'll go first on this one. Again, I think by this time, Mayo has realized that Jacoby Brissett is a piece of crap and he's not the quarterback that he should have picked in the first place. So I think by this time, this is where you get the rookie quarterback for the New England Patriots. Now, does that mean that the New England Patriots are going to get better and be able to defeat the Miami Dolphins? Absolutely not. I still think that the Patriots are still going to suck. I still think that the Patriots will not find a way to beat the Miami Dolphins, and I think the Dolphins are able to pull this off. So I have the Dolphins beating the New England Patriots at home to move to 8-3. What about you, sir?
Yeah, this is a dub. I'm not even gonna even contemplate about it. That team right now is in rebuild mode. They're in no position of beating the Dolphins whatsoever.
All right, so you have the Dolphins going 9-2, and then Steven, I see you. You said, "Yep, the Gators are better than the Pats. Miami kills them 10-1." I really do appreciate that. Yes, I think the Florida Gators are even better than the New England Patriots. Even if they do bring Drake May out there, I still think the Miami Dolphins and the Gators are better than the Patriots. No doubt says injuries can obviously throw everything off, but Fins are due for some luck with injuries, and I like the young talent on D. If offense has injuries, that means chaos. We'll show you a little preview of what's happening with the Jacksonville Jaguars in just a second. All right. We move on. Week 13, sir. Week 13, an important game. Thanksgiving, baby. Thanksgiving. That's when the family and friends all get together, celebrate turkey. If you guys eat turkey, if not, then I hope you guys eat, something special with the family. This game is being Thursday night, 8:20. This is at Lambeau Field, and it's being shown on NBC and Universo Telemundo. So you will get the Spanish version of this game as well. High-end Spanish. I might just tune into this game in Spanish just to hear if they have Andres Cantor. If they have Andres Cantor as the commentator, I would love to see that. I mean, a touchdown de los Dolphins. Maybe like that would be pretty cool. Anyways, sir, we'll go with you on this one. What do you think? Thanksgiving, Green Bay, in Green Bay, open field, kind of chilly out there. Will the Dolphins win or lose this game?
Man, this is the show me the money game, bro. And
show me the money.
I don't know why, but for some strange reason, I just don't see us beating Green Bay and Lambeau, man. And I see your boy Jordan Love eating that turkey.
Damn.
Especially that it's a short week for us.
Yeah, it's true because we are playing on a Thursday and we are flying to Lambeau Field. Now our boy Steven is saying that into Green Bay cold game, I see us losing unfortunately 10-2. So maybe some reality hits not only you DiTrapio, but Steven also kind of feels like we're gonna lose this one. And no doubt on the other way said we're winning for Telemundo. That would be a great way to win it for Telemundo because we are Telemundo fans. We do like Telemundo. No doubt says fans are going to win in Green Bay. It isn't December yet. That's a very good point. It isn't December. Technically, it's still November. All right, man. I've been up and down on this one. This one's hard for me to pick. I like the Dolphins. For some strange reason, I really do like the Dolphins. It is in Lambeau. If the Dolphins can pull something out here, but Thanksgiving, Tua is gonna think about that turkey. I'm gonna go with no doubt. I said the Dolphins are gonna win this one for Telemundo.
Let's go, baby.
Show me the money game, and the Dolphins pull it out. I say some way somehow Tua finds a way to pull this out with the team, and they win it for Telemundo. And he shows everybody why he deserves to get paid instead of the Green Bay Packers quarterback, of course. All right, we move on to the next game, another very important game, Week 14. So now we're back. We're back against our division rivals. This is the first time we meet them. We meet them late in the season. This is not an easy game, especially by this time. We should know if the New York Jets are actually legit or if they suck. So Sunday, December the 8th, 1 o'clock, we're playing at, oh, actually, we're playing this one at home. I'm sorry, my apologies. We're at Hard Rock Stadium. It's being shown on CBS, presented by Trust. I'll go for, I'll go on this one. I say the Miami Dolphins lose to the New York Jets at home. What about you, sir?
Nah, man. I think by this time, I don't even think Aaron Rodgers is gonna be on the field around this time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have the Dolphins winning.
Yes.
Okay. So you have the Dolphins winning against the Jets.
Well, let me rephrase that. Maybe he's not on the field, but in the sense of like that's how bad he's gonna play. That we didn't even know he was on the field type thing.
Okay. So he's at least not injured. He's still on the field, just not the old Aaron Rodgers, more of the 2024 Aaron Rodgers, the one that can't win. Right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Steven says here another bounce back game. Miami takes this one, goes to 11-2. Interesting. So let's recap. Obviously, you saw Steven score. Steven has it 11-2. DiTrapio has it 10-3, and I already have the Dolphins going 9-4. Now, week 15, sir, and they go to Houston, and we went to Houston. We were there. We were in Houston for a different type of sport. We were there for some soccer. But we got to visit NRG Stadium. It was a beautiful stadium. If there's one game I probably would like to go to, it probably an away game would probably be this one. I might look into it. This is being televised on CBS, 1 o'clock game, December the 15th, getting close to Christmas. Talk to me, sir. Do you see the Miami Dolphins pulling this win against the Houston Texans?
This is an interesting one, man. As you know, Houston has added great players this offseason. This one's a tricky one. It's in December, but it ain't gonna be in the cold.
No, because there's the dome. Remember
it's
that.
in the dome. I don't know, man.
Do you want some time to think?
Nah, man. I still feel like Stephon Diggs is gonna find a way to tear us apart because he always does when he goes against the Dolphins. I have to give an L on this one.
Going with the L. So you got the Dolphins taking an L on this one. Let's see what Steven says. Steven says Houston is going to be really good. I say Miami loses this one and they drop to 11-3. No Doubt says, hey, the Texans are going to get us beginning of December slide. Oh man, you guys feel like this December slide is going to continue this season as well. All right. So NRG Stadium, we weren't there for a football game. We were there for a soccer game. I hope our good juju from that game, obviously, the Colombia won that game against Paraguay, so maybe rubs on the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are able to take a win over there in Houston. But just like in the Pro Bowl and when they had the little games that they usually play, the quarterback games, Tua Tagovailoa lost. I believe CJ Stroud did a better job than Tua, and I think the Dolphins will not beat the Houston Texans, and I see the Dolphins dropping this game as well. So all three of us see the Dolphins taking an L on week 15. Moving on to week 16, another big game, but this time they come back to Hard Rock Stadium. So this game is at 4:25, an afternoon game in the Hard Rock. This is going to be a really good game because obviously it's in the afternoon. It's being shown on CBS and it's being sponsored by Publix. Shout out to Publix subs. If you guys want to sponsor, let me talk to you. Let me know. I always get Publix subs all the time.
I get Publix wraps all the time.
I'll go first. You know, Mike McDaniel always struggles against his old nemesis. Well, not his. I wouldn't say his nemesis. His actual mentor. I just San Francisco's a beast. They just finished signing Ayuk again. Ricky Pearsall, shout out to him. Want to give a big prayer to him. as a rookie, a Florida Gator that got drafted by San Francisco, unfortunately got shot on the chest, but was able to survive. And the man went on paper, on record, and he told the GM of the San Francisco 49ers, hey, you guys are having a party. You go party, God damn it. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about my chest. Don't worry about my shot. And Mr. Organs, I'll be ready for the NFL season this year. You'll see me on the field, but you guys go party. And I like that, man. That's what a Florida Gator do. That's what he does out there. He goes and he lets people go party. He doesn't tell them, hey, don't feel sympathy for me. All jokes aside, very, very, very important, very cool, very thankful that to God that fortunately he did not have any serious injuries and he didn't pass away, because getting shot while being robbed kind of sucks. But I just like that mentality that Ricky Pearsall has over there in San Francisco. I think San Francisco brings the hammer on us, and I see the Miami Dolphins losing this game. So the Dolphins lose a home game against the San Francisco, a second home game. This is the one that I have them losing against Jacksonville in the home opener, and I have them losing against San Francisco in Miami. So I have the Dolphins losing against San Francisco. What about you, sir?
I don't think I got the Dolphins losing yet this at home, right?
Well, let me see. You hold on, let me jump back. I didn't write down the game. So you had on first loss was week 7, which was against the Colts. You had them losing against Arizona, and that one was at home. So you had them week 8 losing at home.
No, I had them beating Arizona. I had them losing.
I'm sorry. You're right. You had them. I'm sorry. Yes, you had them. So the second loss was week 9. I'm sorry. So that one was at Buffalo. The third loss was week 13. Week 13 was at Green Bay, and then week 14, you had them losing to the Jets.
No, I told them that Aaron Rodgers not going to be on the. He's going to play so bad he's not going to be on the field. So I have him winning.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. So, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. I'm getting confused. I'm sorry. Week 15 is the one that you had them losing. I messed it up by 1 week.
Well, guess what, sir? We're gonna go perfect season, baby. Because I don't see the Dolphins losing at home this year, bro. We're gonna win. We're gonna take care of business. I think this year, San Francisco may be one of those teams that might look great, but I don't know. I have a strange feeling that San Francisco is not really gonna be the dominant team as we usually know. I have the Dolphins winning this game.
Okay, so you have the Dolphins beating the San Francisco 49ers for the big upset in South Florida. Steven, I don't see you on the chat board what your pick is. I think you did put it here. It says Miami has a chip on their shoulder from last year. They won a close one by 3 and they beat the Niners just because they're at home. So you got Dolphins going 12-3 on week 16. And then yes, no doubt he did get shot. Apparently, what happened to Ricky Pearsall was he was walking. It sucked for him because he was actually at a event where he was signing and taking autographs for the fans. And as he was walking, he got robbed. And I guess he was, trying to defend himself. And when he defended himself, the guy shot him and shot him in the chest. But thankfully, it didn't hit any of his organs, and he was able to survive. So somebody upstairs must really, really like him. Rodgers won't last the end of the year. That's a possibility. Did he get robbed in San Fran? He did. Yes, that's what exactly happened. That they were going after him. They were trying to steal him, and I guess he tried to defend himself, and then that's what unfortunately happened. But again, good for him. He was able to survive. Like I said, somebody upstairs must really, really like him. All right, so moving on. So week 17, and I'll go with the first one. So the Cleveland Browns, and now we're going into the deep end of December. This is when the Dolphins start to kind of choke. So that's why I have the Dolphins kind of losing a couple of these games. So we got week 17 against the Cleveland Browns. Sunday, December the 29th, 8:20. So it's a night game. It's gonna be at Huntington Back Field. It's presented by I don't know. They don't have it here, and it's being shown on, of course, on NBC and Universal. So you'll be able to get it in Spanish as well. All right. This is a I'll go first on this one. Man, this is really gonna tell us if the if the quarterback situation over there is legit, or if the quarterback over there is having some setbacks and hasn't been back to his old form. I hate Ohio. I think Ohio, well, hate is such a bad word. I shouldn't say hate. I dislike Ohio. I think Ohio is very boring. I think even though it's very boring, I think Deshaun Watson doesn't have many massage parlors to get massages in Ohio, so he'll focus more on football than anything else. And I have the Miami Dolphins losing in Cleveland against Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. So I got the Dolphins going 9-7 by week 17. What about you, sir?
Um,
Look with no doubt, right? What kind of dumbass rush? Right. I mean, he was a first rounder, so at least he does have some money. But yeah,
what's my record so far? I'm what, 12-4?
11-4.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I see the Dolphins losing this game as well.
All right, so you got them 11-5. Let's see what Steven has. It says Cleveland defense is really good. It's going to be a cold game. I think they're going to need this game more than Miami, so Miami loses this one to go 12-4. Okay. All right, sir. So here it is. We got our last game of the season. I know that, right? If the Finns lose in Cleveland, it will be because of the Browns defense. Yeah, the defense of the Browns is pretty solid. All right, so it would all fall in this game right here. Week 18, we don't know. All we know is that it's in New York. It's in crappy ass MetLife Stadium. MetLife takeover by the Miami Dolphin fans, of course. Let me recap the records. I have the Dolphins going 9-7 going into week 18. You have them going 11-5, and Steven has them going 12-4. Look, I think the Miami Dolphins, in order for them to make the playoffs, they have to win at least 10 games. That's just my opinion. I also feel that if the Miami Dolphins want to succeed and not fall back compared to last year, it doesn't matter if they don't have 11 wins, but at least them making it to the playoffs helps the Dolphins. I'm going to go out on a limb. On my previous predictions, I had the Miami Dolphins losing against the New York Jets at New York. But I'm gonna go on a limb and I'm gonna say the Dolphins figure out a way. I think Mike McDaniel, Tua, they know they know that they need this win. I think that they find a way to win in New York. They've done it before. Javon Holland last year with the pick was the the play of the game. I think the Dolphins figure out a way and they beat those pesky Jets over there. I think by that time, Aaron Rodgers, two things could happen. Either the Jets are already qualified into the playoffs because they've either won the division or they're up really high up there, or number two, they suck and they're not that good. So they would either be trying to ruin our playoff hopes, or they'll be just resting their guys, which would give the Dolphins an opportunity to move on. I say the Dolphins win. So I got the Dolphins winning this game. What about you, sir?
This is a tricky one, man. I think this game is going to be very close, but yes, I believe the Dolphins are going to find a way. Even though I had them being, I remember having the Jets splitting with the Jets, but I just don't see the Jets at the end of the day figuring it out. They're gonna be the Jets just have a weird juju on them, like you said, either they're gonna be in super winning division mode or they're gonna be in extreme poverty rebuild mode all over again. And but I gotta stick with my guns. I think the Dolphins are gonna go ahead and take care of business and win this game.
Okay.
Finishing the season 12-5.
Nice. So let's do the recap here. The recap is we'll start with Steven. Steven, you have the Miami Dolphins going 13-4. DiTrapio, you got it going 12-5, and I have the Dolphins going 10-7. Compared to our last pre-prediction, sir, you have the exact same record, and so do I. I had them 10-7, and you had them 12-5. The only difference is we did have a couple different losses on the first prediction that well, the second prediction that we did compared to this one. But I think if the Dolphins go either 13-4, 12-5, or 10-7, they obviously make the playoffs. The only issue is, will the Miami Dolphins find a way to win the division? If they go 13-4, they definitely win the division. Even if they go 12-5, I think they'll still be able to win the division. I think if they go my record 10-7, I think they only find a way to make it to the playoffs. But sir, overall, a very, very exciting. Those are our final predictions. So I'm gonna keep these. I'm gonna stick with them. Steven, DiTrapio, and of course, I'm gonna put here Fresco. We will keep them. We'll keep, we'll keep these. I'm gonna save it here in my folder, and I will go ahead and we'll reference it to see if it does come to fruition, to see who actually made the right predictions, right? Like that's kind of our last prediction. We don't do no more predictions. We always do like 3 or 4, and this one was the one. Thank you. Absolutely, man. Thanks, bro. We definitely appreciate it. And if one of you guys ever wants to do for next season, or if you guys want to go ahead and do your prediction and send me your overall record of the Dolphins, just shoot me a quick message to X, or shoot me a message to Instagram, and I'll write it down, and I'll keep you on our record, and we'll all just go ahead and, once the season's over, we'll recap and see who actually came close and who actually made the right prediction. Now, maybe we could maybe not this year because it's a little bit too late, but maybe next year I'll make a pot. What I'll do is maybe I'll do like a $20 bet. Or maybe all of us could, like, if you guys want to all add in maybe, like, I don't know, $1 or $5 or something like that, and we do a little like a pot, and then whoever comes the closest wins the pot. And then that's how we could go ahead and do that. If you guys want to come and do that, maybe we could include that next year for you guys, because that way we can, make it a little bit more interesting. But with that being said, sir, let's talk about obviously this Jacksonville Jaguar team, right? And you sent me something earlier today, sir. And what you sent me earlier, let me go ahead and pull this up on my phone, was, of course, the injury report. And the injury report does not look good for the Dolphins. And the reason it doesn't look good is because there's a lot of people on this list. It just doesn't look like the Miami Dolphins are starting in the right foot when it comes to injury. Now, hopefully this is just like, it's just a prediction, it's just something simple. It's not something out of the ordinary. It's not something that we're going to go ahead and be like, oh my god, they're starting because they're all continuously hurt. Maybe it's just them going ahead and just being precautious when it comes to these guys. So let me share this with you. Sorry, I had to pull it up right now. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's the obvious what we got going on here. And of course, you have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 players on the injury report. Obviously, Javon Holland did practice full, so I could honestly say it's only 12. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars, only one guy, and Daniel Thomas. Sir, talk to me, man. Is this a concern? Should we be concerned about this injury report?
At first glance, yeah, you wish you could have an injury report like the team on the bottom. But this is the thing. Mike McDaniel has realized that throughout the season, injuries occur. We have a lot of veteran players. And so if you kind of think about it, the only ones that, if I had to go ahead and say, hey, it's a little bit of a concern, is Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Brewer. Those two guys, I'm a little bit concerned about those two guys. Obviously, we're pretty short on the cornerback position. We're not really the strongest this year in the cornerback position. and we're not very strong in the center position either. So those are the two injuries that can really give us a sense of concern. Overall, the other ones, I mean, if you kind of look at it, vet rest. Jalen Phillips is not going to play too much because he's still handling that injury. Quentin Bell with the thumb, shit. Bradley Chubb played with a brace on at one point, so he's fine. Kendra Fuller, vet rest. Benito Jones, that's fine. We have Calais Campbell and Zach Sealer. David Long Jr., vet rest. Jordan Poyer, I heard his injury is a little bit naggy, but we're pretty solid in the safety position. Malik Washington's a little bit, quadricep. That's a little bit concerning, but overall, it's just those two guys. I mean, if you kind of think of it, it's just those two guys that you just got to keep an eye on: Aaron Brewer, on Jalen Ramsey. But everything else, I mean, to be honest with you, Mike McDaniel's just playing his cards very cautiously, and he just doesn't want to. He just wants to make sure that everyone's up to shape on week 1.
For me, I think this is the reason why on my picks I went with a different route and I picked the Jacksonville Jaguars to beat us. It's because I do see some concerns. Now, Teron Armstead, they named the captains for the Miami Dolphins. I think Teron Armstead was actually one of them. So
Yes.
I'm assuming he's going to be playing. I know that Tyreek Hill was another captain. Tua was another captain. Um, Calais Campbell was another captain. So you got a couple guys there. I think they had like 8 captains, if I'm not mistaken.
David Long
Um,
Jr.
David Long Jr. was another one. So David Long Jr. He's gonna play. Obviously, Calais Campbell's gonna play. Teron Armstead is gonna play. Those and Kendall Fuller should play if it's just vet rest. So here comes the ones that kind of are shaky. So Jalen Phillips, the Achilles. I think that he's gonna play, but I think they're gonna be very cautious with him. So I think they'll stick him in here and there, but they won't, they're not gonna push him. When it comes to Jalen Ramsey, that's a concern. He hasn't been on practice for quite some time. That's a concern, man. That's a concern because obviously we don't have a strong cornerback. And the other guy we have is Kendall Fuller, and Kendall Fuller is obviously somebody that we're banking on to be to the same level as Xavier Howard, but I don't know. I have to see it to believe it. So that one worries me. Quentin Bell, he has a thumb injury that worries me. Aaron Brewer, I've heard that he is gonna play, so I'm okay with that. Um, Jordan Poyer is another one. So think about it. If you got look what we have out there, and a lot of these guys. I mean, offensively, it's the only offensive guys that we have out there would be Teron Armstead, but he's a rest, so we don't have to worry about him. Aaron Brewer, they've been saying that he's going to play, so we don't have to worry about him. And then Malik Washington, which is kind of like a weird one, but he's not going to be he's not a 1 or 2 or even 3 receiver. So that one doesn't worry me. But look at the defense, dude. You have Calais Campbell, Jalen Phillips, Jalen Ramsey, Quentin Bell, Kendall Fuller, Benito Jones, David Long Jr., Jordan Poyer, Anthony Walker, Javon Holland. What the hell's Anthony Weaver doing out there? Is he like pushing these guys? I don't know. And I know some of them are just rest, but maybe Anthony Weaver is very aggressive in his practices. I have no idea, and I think that's what's going to cost the Dolphins in this game, and that's why I think I picked Jacksonville to beat them because I think the injuries are going to pile up, and I also feel that Dolphins are not going to be in sync with Anthony Weaver. I think it's going to take a full game for them to settle down and kind of get the grasp of this defense. So it should be interesting. And if you look at the obviously the Jacksonville Jaguars, they only Daniel Thomas was an Achilles. The only thing I see from here as well, Nick, that kind of concerns me that this is so early in the season and you're seeing all these names on the injury report. I know some of them are just rest, but still very concerning in my eyes. So we'll see what happens. It should be a good game. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I do want to go ahead and say I hope the Dolphins prove me wrong. I hope the Dolphins do win. But that's just me. I it's just the way it looks. And let me see what. Are we surprised that we have players not practicing? We'll be ready to go. Not worried yet. This is the thing, man. Like, dude, if you had a really strong team, you don't need to rest these guys. Like if they're 100% prepared and physically fit, those guys are going to be out there, probably not giving it 100%, but just doing their thing. That's a little concerning to me that we're already, season hasn't even started and these guys are getting a rest. So I don't know. Nick says, DiTrapio says, hey, Mike McDaniel's playing cautiously. For me, I don't know, man. I think there's a little bit more to it than just being cautious. And again, I don't know what our defense and our offensive bench looks like. Maybe they have one or two guys that can cover up if there's injuries, but after that, it's.
I mean, if you think about it, who's the offensive weapon when it comes to the Jaguars? And it's just Christian Kirk. I mean, I'm very I don't really know that many wide receivers from the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, here's the thing.
And then they have Etienne. They have Etienne too.
So if we look at the Jaguars roster, right? One of the things, obviously, Travis Etienne is going to be a concern because they're going to run the football, and we don't have Christian Wilkins this year, so we don't know how the run game is going to work this year. As far as their wide receivers, they have an old face around that we've dealt with, which is our boy Gabe Davis. So now he's in the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then you got Christian Kirk, and then you got Brian Thomas Jr. So those are the guys that are going to be lining up for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Their tight ends are not bad. Evan Ingram is not a bad tight end. And like I said, Travis Etienne Jr., he's not bad either. He's their their workhorse. If we can't stop the run, that's where I'm going to get a little bit worried. That's what I'm going to get worried. Chad in the building, saying fins up. Of course, Chad working late, so I really appreciate you being there. And also said we're getting this dub this Sunday. I hope so, man. I hope so. I hope the Dolphins prove me wrong. All right, ladies and gentlemen, but that was our Dolphins segment. I appreciate everybody that has tuned into this segment. I hope you like the hype video. Like I said, if you didn't get a chance to watch the hype video, I'll post it on my X, and I'll also post it on my Instagram. That way you guys can check it out. And of course, my tag is right there on the bottom of the screen. But now let's talk about something that has been a little bit heartbreaking. So this past weekend, and I'm going to show some people our new banner, our new background. Let me go to this. It's not loading up. Okay, perfect. So it is college football, and there it is. I try to squeeze everybody in as much as I can. Don't get on me, guys, because I'm covering the University of Miami with my video. So what I'll do, just for you pansy Hurricane fans, let me see if I could edit this. Let me see if I could do something here. Can I do this? It's not letting me do it. Oh well, whatever. I'll move it next time. I'll save it better next time for you guys. But yes, we had a hard time this past weekend. The Florida Gators ended up losing against the University of Miami. The Gators did not show up. The Canes came and whooped our ass in the swamp and took over. They started talking crap to our recruits. If you guys tuned into the Squared Circle yesterday, Sean did not stop referencing the University of Miami with every single thing about wrestling. So it was annoying to do that show. You guys are going to be trolling me throughout the whole season because the Gators lost. And I guess I deserve it. At the end of the day, there's nothing I could do. I will say this, and I've already told you guys, once the University of Miami loses, get ready because I will be trolling you guys back. You guys trolled me like crazy over the weekend, and it has been trending a little bit. It's gotten better today, obviously being Wednesday. But look, congratulations, okay? Just be happy that I'm congratulating you guys, okay? I never give you guys kudos. I will say this, and you guys... look, Steven, switch it with the Gator. No, okay, fine. You know what? I'll give you that. I'll switch it up. I'll move the Hurricane one up instead of the Gator. I'll do that for you guys for the next episode. I won't do it for this one because I can't edit it right now while we're live. But and then No Doubt says you can just take FSU off there for now if you want. Yeah, it's a little bit rough right now. But like you said last night, No Doubt, we definitely know the baddest ACC teams in the conference, which is Georgia Tech and Boston College. I will say this when it comes to the University of Miami. Um, I am a Mario Cristobal fan. I like him. I like him as a coach. I think he is a very strong coach for you guys. I think he's done a phenomenal job when it comes to the recruiting for the University of Miami. And I was giving, you could ask my brother, and Nick, you could prove this. We've been talking about UM the last couple of years, which we typically don't, but we've been talking about it. And I've been, kind of supporting UM. I've been like, yeah, UM is not that bad. I like Mario Cristobal. I think they're going to win the ACC championship and this and that. And you told me, Frankie, no, you're smoking crack and all that stuff. And, these last 2 years with Mario Cristobal, I've been preaching and saying, yo, they're going to make the turn. And this is the first year, I guess, because they played the Gators, that I honestly don't want them to win the ACC championship. And I think it's going to happen now that they're going to win it. But again, I think let's talk about it, man. Will the University of Miami win an ACC championship this year, sir?
Every team in the ACC who has won looks like they're going to win the ACC championship right now. Georgia Tech looks fantastic. Your Boston College looks strong, apparently now beating a very weakened Florida State team. You got newcomers like Stanford and California coming from other conferences, so it's going to add a little bit of spiciness to it. And you got to also remember that when Miami plays against other teams that are not in the ACC, they show out. But when it comes to ACC in conference, that's when it gets a little bit more, personal. Do I see the Hurricanes for now, just because of this game? Do I see them making it to the ACC? I'm not going to lie to you, yes. They have a great running back. They have a great quarterback that can, extend plays. And that's something that previous quarterbacks in couldn't do. And for now, I would say yes. Mario Cristobal, Cam Ward and company have a shot in making it to the ACC. Winning it, not yet. I'll see. I'll keep that answer or that question to the side. But I do see them making it to the ACC championship. Why not?
Well, look, I'm looking at the standings right now, and there was only 4 teams in the ACC that lost. That was Clemson, they lost. Stanford, they lost. Virginia Tech, goddamn Virginia Tech, it already sucks. They lost, and of course Florida State. The only team to be at 0-2 because they've played 2 games, and they've unfortunately lost both of them. Every other team in the ACC has won. So Georgia Tech, SMU, the newcomers, Boston College, Cal, Duke, Louisville, Miami, North Carolina, NC State, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, Virginia, Wake Forest, they all won. Now, do I feel that Miami is going to win the ACC championship? This is the thing. I see them losing at least 2 games. And again, it just, I don't want to go ahead and discredit the Florida State. I think whenever it's a big game against the University of Miami, I always feel that Florida State finds a way to at least make it a tough game, unlike the Gators, unfortunately. I will tell you this, and I'll pull this up that way you guys can see the easy schedule that you Miami fans have. So I'm gonna try to zoom in here. Let me see it. Can you guys see? It's a little bit small.
Damn, 41-17. Shit.
Nick, don't beat a dead horse here. Okay. 41-17. Let's just skip the top 2. Let's just skip that. I can't even skip the top 2. It doesn't allow me to do it. All right, there you go. Let me try to zoom in a little bit more and avoid that one. Okay, because we know they're gonna be FAMU, right? FAMU is not gonna be there. We know they're gonna
FAMU's 2-0 right now. You never know, but yeah.
I mean, if they were playing against the bands, then FAMU would destroy UM and anybody in the band. But they're playing the football game. All right, so we're not. I don't. They're gonna destroy Ball State too. They should win that one. Then you got South Florida, and I don't know what is South. Who did South Florida play? This who did, let me see. South Florida Bulls. I don't know if they. I to be honest with you, I wasn't paying attention to them. They played. Nope, they haven't played yet. They haven't played yet, have they? Yes, they did. Okay, so they beat who the hell is this? They beat a team called oh my god, I think they beat Bethune Cookman. Is that Bethune Cookman? Oh my god, they played Bethune Cookman. Wow. They played Bethune Cookman. God damn. South Florida playing Bethune Cookman. I didn't even know Bethune Cookman had a team. Okay, so it's obvious that that's not a true test for the South Florida Bulls. Obviously, let me take a look and see who they got after that. Okay, all right. So now let's. Okay, so this is gonna be okay, Nick. This is good. This is a very good thing. The University of South Florida. Their next game is against fourth-ranked Alabama. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. If some way, somehow, South Florida can be competitive against that Alabama team, they're gonna give Miami a run for their money. And I don't want to discredit South Florida because I remember there was one year where South Florida played against the Gators, and I think they played against Florida State, and they didn't beat us, they didn't beat you guys, but they were giving us a run for our money, and that could be a tricky game for the University of Miami because nobody expects them to lose to South Florida. But that could be, I mean, look, it's a lot of Florida recruits that go now to pretty decent schools here in South Florida. So, or here in Florida. So if that's going to kind of tell us where South Florida is. If they get smoked by Alabama, then we know Miami's going to win. All right. Then you look at that Virginia Tech game, and Virginia Tech just lost 0-1. So that's not a good sign for Virginia Tech if they already lost the game. And for me, in my opinion, if it can the Canes get over Virginia Tech. I mean, they've been an old foe, like they've always had like difficult times with them, but they're just, I just don't believe in Virginia Tech. They lost to Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt is not a powerhouse in the SEC. So it looks like they might win that game as well. But here's the tricky game, Nick, right there. That California versus Miami. They're newcomers. Cal is not going to be a cakewalk. I think they're going to give them a run for their money. Is that game in here in
California?
It's perfect. Perfect. So that game right there is going to be the game that will probably haunt the Canes, and I think they might lose that game. Then you got Louisville, who's a ranked team. These are the teams that I feel that could beat Miami. Cal, Louisville. I'm never gonna discredit Florida State, so I'm gonna put Florida State there. Georgia Tech, and that's it. I think those are the teams that could beat them. I think Georgia Tech, Florida State, Louisville, and Cal. Those are 4 games that I feel maybe Duke can give them a run for their money too. But those are the 4 games. I think they're going to lose 2 games out of that. That's just me, though. That's just me. And Steven says Miami still has to prove it. Mario still has to prove it. So I'm loving the win, but we have ways to go. No Doubt says the next 3 games are a joke. Easy. I'm telling you, we're going to find out. Obviously, FAMU and Ball State are going to be easy, but we're going to find out about South Florida. No Doubt said the Bulls are good every once in a while, but I haven't heard any Bulls hype. That's true. We haven't. It's kind of like UCF. UCF is also kind of like a middle of the pack kind of type of group that sometimes they come out of the woodworks and they're like, oh shit, they have a really good team, and sometimes they just really suck. So, Nick, talk to me, man. What do you think is going to happen with Florida State? Is Florida State going to be able to bounce back, or is this going to be a down year?
This is going to be a rough year, but I still do see the Florida State Seminoles finding a way to make adjustments. I do see them winning at least 7 games, at least, to be bowl eligible, and just wrap up this season. We know our quarterback position is probably our weakest, and we'll just go back to the chalking board. But I don't really see Florida State doing anything crazy if we have DJ under center, man. DJ had a lot of hype, and clearly he ain't no Jordan Travis. And right now, even though FSU right now has solid players, I think their defenses was going to carry them this year more than ever. Even though they missed big pieces, I think their defense this year is going to be more of a of them helping them out winning these close games, because I don't see the Florida State Seminoles winning any blowout. I see them winning a lot of close games. Yeah, like you see, like I see them beating Memphis. I see them beating SMU. I wouldn't be even surprised if they beat Clemson, probably Charleston. Look, they even have Notre Dame. They're being that.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I'm like, God damn, they got Notre Dame as
Look,
well.
I see them beating Memphis, SMU, Clemson, Duke, and Charleston. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That being got, yeah. They would probably have to pull them. They probably have to beat Cal. Cal would probably be another beatable team, and
They might pull the upset against Miami.
um
Damn, you don't feel confident on your Florida State Seminoles to beat Miami in Miami?
I don't feel I feel comfortable defensively. Offensively is what I don't feel comfortable.
Well, No Doubt says he looks at it and he says about 6-7, 7-6, and he also says that it's time to throw a younger QB for the experience. I don't know. I guess I mean your quarterback is having a rough season already, so I'm assuming maybe it is time to give somebody else an opportunity. I see you guys beating Memphis. I think you lose to Cal. I think you beat SMU. Um, this Clemson game is 50-50. Clemson doesn't look that great, but I say Clemson pulls it off. I say Duke beats you guys. I say Miami might beat you guys. UNC versus Florida. Damn. Dude, I honestly, this is, I'm not trying to take a shot, but I only see them winning 3 games here, maybe 4.
Nah.
They beat Memphis, they beat SMU, they beat Charleston, and maybe I'll give them they beat Duke. They find a way to beat Duke.
Memphis, SMU, Clemson, UNC, Charleston.
They're not beating UNC, bro. UNC is a solid. UNC is always a troublemaker in the ACC, bro. That Duke team is also a troublemaker. Those teams are always shaky. They're always so like suspect. I mean, they're either really good or they really suck, but they're always are spoilers. I've noticed that when it comes to Duke.
And
Like last year.
I wouldn't be surprised. Can you scroll down? Are there more games?
No, there's no more. Oh wait, hold on. No, there isn't. Wait, hold on. Am I scrolling down? Well, no, this is. I'm sorry. Hold on, my bad. The Gators. So they're
Okay,
probably.
I see them beating the Gators.
Sir, we'll talk about that game when that game comes around, okay? But you know what? By that time, the Gators will have their rookie quarterback holding it down, sir. Screw the Florida State at that time, okay? In the meantime, I want you guys to do well, but screw you guys. We're gonna beat you guys, and we're playing in Gainesville. So let's get that correct. Look at the games that you guys have. You got Florida State, Memphis at home. You got Cal at home, but then you got SMU. You should win that game. You got Clemson at home, but then you're on the road with Duke, Miami, Notre Dame, and Florida. Wait, this game is on Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, isn't it?
Nope. Bobby
This is-
Bowden Stadium, sir.
No. Yeah, it's at Doak Campbell Stadium.
I'm sorry, Doe Campbell.
I know then. Yeah, you guys are going. Unless our rookie quarterback figures out a way. Yeah, damn, that sucks. So yeah, I mean the only favorable thing is that you guys have a lot of home games because you're playing Florida State, you're playing Clemson at Florida State, you're playing UNC in Doak, you're playing this team that Charleston, and you're playing Florida. So you should win at least 4 to 5 games, in my opinion. Well, that's not bad.
I'll say 7. 7 games is what I feel like Florida State will find out.
Now let's look at the disaster that is the Florida Gators before we move on. The Florida Gators complete schedule.
No doubt. UF versus FSU, winner gets a bowl game. That's right, baby. That's how bad we're gonna be.
This is gonna be this the Florida Gators schedule is just disgusting, and then
Oh
it's
no, it's if you thought Florida State schedule is bad, Florida schedule is just crazy.
all right. So let's and look. Last year you guys beat us in Florida. All right, so here we go. So Sanford, we should beat Sanford. Okay, so that's one win. Then we get Texas A&M at home, and Texas A&M is a good team. I know they I think they just lost, but they're still a very good team. So I say we lose that game. Then we got Mississippi State. That's another tough game. They should win that game. Well, they're on the road for that game. No, I say they might win that one. So I'll give them that victory. Then you got UCF. If we lose to UCF, man, I'm gonna be pissed because then we really do suck in the state of Florida. We would have lost to Miami, UCF, and Florida State. I would just because of that, I would fire Billy Napier. You can't go 0-3 in Florida against Florida teams. I'm sorry, you just can't. I would be furious if that was the case. I'm being honest with you. Like that's a disgrace. Um, so I'm assuming I say they somehow they find a way to beat UCF. So they beat UCF, they beat Sanford. They're gonna lose to Tennessee. They play at Tennessee. We're struggling every single time with Kentucky. We're not beating Kentucky. We're definitely not beating Georgia. We're not beating Texas. We're not beating LSU. We're not beating Ole Miss, and we're not beating Florida State. So I say that the Gators win 2 games,
You
three
know,
top.
on the Hard Rock app, they have an over and under in their season right now, and it's 4.5, and now it went down to 4. So they don't even see them winning 5 games, bro.
Yeah, it's bad, man. It's bad. And if we're looking at right now the SEC standings, looking at this in the SEC East. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. Hold on. So
Yo, those 4 games, yo, November is a terrible month, bro. You got Georgia, Texas, and look at this. It's at Georgia and at Texas. Then you host LSU and Ole Miss. Wow.
the thing is that look at this. Alabama, look, all the teams, there's only 3 teams that lost in the SEC this past weekend. Florida, LSU, and Texas A&M. And if you look at LSU, they should have won. And if you look at Texas A&M barely lost to Oklahoma State. They lost 23-30. I'm sorry. They lost to Notre Dame. My apologies. They lost to Notre Dame 23-13 to the 5th ranked team in the country. And they only lost by 10 points. That's why I don't see them beating Texas A&M. That's why I see the Gators losing against Texas A&M. So I only see them beating Sanford and UCF. Maybe Mississippi State. Maybe.
I see the Gators finding a way to beat Sanford, Mississippi State, UCF. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat LSU. And
There's no
you
way.
know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they upset Texas. This is a new territory for Texas. Texas is not used to the SEC, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Gators go out there and make some noise.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. And yes, no doubt says what a run of games. Yeah, bro, you got to play Georgia, Texas, LSU, and Ole Miss. That Gator team is going to be destroyed.
Can you imagine if UM plays this type of schedule? Do you even think they'll win the same amount of games?
No, of course not. That's why UM needs to understand that you guys are okay for bragging and saying that you beat us, but dude, flip the script. Give us your schedule and you take this schedule and tell me if you guys are national contenders. I don't see it. I don't. I see Florida probably winning 6 or 7 games, to be honest with you. But I can't look. I can't knock the Canes. Because they're in the ACC and they beat us. So I can't talk crap about them because they got the job done. We didn't. We blew it. So kudos to UM and
I
just gotta
agree,
keep
no
rolling.
doubt.
And no doubt says this is why FSU needs to go to Big Ten. Forget the SEC. And remember, Florida State at one point in time wanted to go to. They wanted to leave the conference, and they were even considering wanting to go to also to the SEC. So, man. All right. Well, we'll keep track of how these teams do next weekend. obviously the majority of them are pretty. I guess the only game you would honestly. Well, hold on before we move on. So obviously, let's look at before we move on to the next topic. The Florida Gators. The Gators are playing that crappy team, Sanford. If we lose
Oh,
to Stanford, I'll be so mad. We got Stanford. The University of Miami plays against FAMU, right? Florida State is playing against who are you guys playing against? We just talked about it. You guys are playing Memphis, so you guys should win that. Let's look at the FIU Panthers. And shout out to FIU, they're giving a pin, a pit bull pin if you attend the FIU home opener. They lost to Indiana 31-7, so they got their asses spanked. But now they're going against Central Michigan. So maybe, 6 o'clock at Pitbull Stadium. So, they should win that game, right? They should, maybe.
pause up, baby. Pause up.
And then the following week, they go against their rivals, FAU, baby. They got FAU Owls. Now, how about the Owls? Who are the Owls playing this weekend? The FAU Owls, how did they do? FAU, August 30th. Okay, so they played against Michigan State. Is this year? Yeah, it looks like it's this year. Yeah. So their next opponent is Army. They play Army. Um,
Impressive.
I'm assuming, I hope FAU can beat Army. And then obviously the game I will be interested in watching is obviously USF, because they're gonna play Alabama. So if USF is able to make it a little bit of a challenge, then maybe they have some hopes to beating the University of Miami when they face them in 2 weeks. But so that's who we got going on around the state of Florida when it comes to football. I'll add into I'm gonna change some stuff on here. I'll add Bethune Cookman. I had no idea they had a football program, and I should have added FAMU as well, because I want to at least represent every school that is out here in the state of Florida. So all right, sir. The last topic of the night before we end the night is, of course, some soccer. And there it is, another new background for you guys. We're bringing in new backgrounds for all you guys. Of course, this is a blowout of every single team when it comes to like EPL, La Liga, everything. Sir, talk to me, man. Before we jump into obviously EPL and La Liga and all this stuff, shout out to the Colombian women. The Colombian women under 20, they're playing the World Cup in Colombia, and they won last night 1-0 against Cameroon. They beat Australia 2-0, so they move on. They made it to the quarterfinals. The next match that they have is against Mexico, so we will have to see. And then of course the World Cup qualifier match, the first one after Copa America for La Selección de Colombia, is against Peru, which is happening this Friday. So we got Colombia versus Peru, and then on Tuesday, we got Argentina. So since our show is on Wednesday, talk to me, sir. What are your predictions as far as the women's game against Mexico, the under 20, and then your predictions for Colombia versus Peru at Peru, and Colombia versus Argentina at Colombia?
I mean, the women right now, well, the ladies, they're playing pretty well. They're playing good soccer. It's in Colombia. It's in El Campín. I really, I can't give so much credit, but I mean, I gotta give it the credit. But the fans of Colombia right now, bro, they're selling out stadiums, watching this sub-20 young team, and it's just very impressive how much passion Colombia shows for their soccer federation, women and men. But I see this game going tie. I think Colombia is gonna kind of ease off the pedal. They kind of want to make sure that they finish first, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of make certain changes and making sure that key players like Linda Caicedo can go ahead and be available for the quarterfinals matchup I say Mexico and Colombia tie 1-1. When it comes to the La Selección Colombia, man, I'm 99% over what happened on July 13th.
Good.
But that 1% still haunts me. However, it's time to move on. And right now, Colombia looks very, very in sync. Obviously, they finished second in La Copa America. You got key players like Luis Diaz playing really well in EPL. You got James Rodriguez jumping back into European soil with Rayo Vallecano in La Liga. You got key players that are also being onboarded to the team, such as Juan David Cabal, who plays for Juve, starting left back. We got our boys Lucumi and Carlos Cuesta back in action after Lucumi was out after the first game of La Copa America. Daniel Munoz been playing pretty well, phenomenal soccer, also in EPL. And I believe Colombia should be able to handle business. Peru right now is in a transition when it comes to coach. They don't have Careca anymore, and so they're still trying to find ground. Even though this game is being played in Lima, even though it's going to be a hostile crowd, I do see Colombia handling business here. I don't want to give you a prediction, but I can tell you my confidence level. If I had to rank it from 1 out of 10, I say this is a 8.5. We should handle business here. We're both more prepared offensively and defensively. And then the true test is going to be against Argentina. Good thing is we're going to have the whole country behind Colombia in that game since it's going to be played. I'm not sure if it's going to be played in Barranquilla, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. This time around, we won't be playing against the Copa America champions. They'll be missing two key players. Obviously, Lionel Messi still dealing with that ankle injury that he had sustained in the Copa America. So that's going to be one key player that's going to be not on the field. And also, when it comes to Di Maria also retired from international play. And so those are the two key players where you and I, Frank, we've been talking about it now quite some time these past couple of days. Who's going to be the person who's going to step up? Is it going to be Julian Alvarez? Is it going to be Lautaro Martinez? Is it going to be newcomers like Simeone, who plays for Atletico Madrid? Or is it going to be Garancho, that is going to play in Manchester United? And so it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be very interesting. Obviously, they still got great players like McAllister and Enzo Fernandez, Arturo Martinez, Rodriguez from Spurs. They got the great goalkeeper in Emilio Martinez, which is playing really well right now with Aston Villa. So this is really the tough game. My confidence level for this game is a little bit lower, but it's still up there. I think Colombia will figure out how to make this game a lot more competitive. And I have it as a 7 out of 10 confidence level. I don't want to give predictions, but that's pretty much my take.
I agree with you when it comes to the women. I think the women are gonna take it at ease. They are playing a Mexico team. I think Mexico is second in the group. Yeah, they won one game and they tied 2-2 against Cameroon.
Mhm.
So it looks like it's gonna be for the group who to win the group, because like Colombia has 6 and Mexico has 4. So and then the other two teams that are on there, Cameroon is the only one that has a shot with 1 point. So I think Mexico is gonna try to give as much firepower to Colombia, but I think Colombia does enough to hold it and at least tie the game, um, and solidify winning the group. As far as La Selección, the two main games, Peru versus and Argentina, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be difficult to go and play in Peru, but I feel confident with this Colombia team. And like you said, some of our players have been doing really well in their domestic leagues. So I like the where we're going with the coaching. I like the great play from our players, like you said, Lucho Diaz and Duran has been doing good. Well, John Cordoba did really well this past weekend as well. Luis Sinistierra, all these guys have done a phenomenal job.
Hernandez.
Cucho making his debut. He's been doing really well in MLS. I see Colombia beating Peru. So I have the women tying with Mexico, winning the group stage. I have the men beating Peru, and then the game that everybody wants to see. Obviously, the rematch between Argentina and Colombia. But this time around, like you said, there's two missing pieces, and that is, of course, Messi, who's still injured, and Di Maria, who retired. And for me, I've always said that the Messi effect is gonna be very interesting for Argentina. And I'm gonna be honest. If Colombia just played Argentina and we barely lost, so they should win. They are the more they're playing at home. They're missing two of their best players. I just don't see why Colombia would lose against Argentina. They're especially since we're playing at home. So I have Colombia beating them. I'm not gonna predict the score, but I at least have them beating them. I do see Steven mentioning about how about those Canadians, huh? All right. Well, very, very interesting to say that. So I want to get now that he brings it up, I want to get your take, sir. The United States men, you know, we talk about the United States because we like the United States. I'm gonna ask you a question. I want to know what the fans think as well. But the next game for the United States, and again, remember they're already qualified for the World Cup because they're hosting it, along with Canada and Mexico. But the next game is actually this Saturday. They're playing as a friendly game against Canada. Sir, the United States has a new coach. The United States went out of their way and they hired this guy,
Mauricio.
Mauricio Pacino, ¿verdad? Is that his last name? Pacino? I forgot. I don't know. The Argentinian guy. Um, talk to me, sir. Do you like the hire of the new coach of the United States?
Definitely, man. I think this is something that the United States has been has been looking for, and I believe finally there's a coach who is willing to take the task and boosting up this team. I've always said it before, and I'm going to say it again. The United States have the great resources to farm great USA players. They have great resources to go ahead and make these guys athletic, fit, and honestly, they're very talented. They all play in European soil. They just need a coach to lead them. And that's been something that the United States soccer team hasn't had in a really long time. And I'm very excited for this. I wonder what formation he's going to be using. And I wonder what he's going to do with the number 9 role. I'm very intrigued on who he plugs in that number 9. Because if you think about it, United States is a true striker in a really, really long time. So we'll see how it goes. Canada, on the other hand, Canada has also been a up and coming team who has a USA coach and kind of boosted their confidence, finishing, if I'm not mistaken, 4th place. They barely lost against Uruguay in penalties. And so this is something that is going to not only improve the United States, but it's also going to improve Canada. And this is all just to prepare themselves for the Copa de Oro 2025 edition. World Cup, not yet. We can't talk about the World Cup, but Copa de Oro is something that I think is going to prepare them. And this would be the true tournament that Mauricio will show the dominance of his play.
It's still not 100% sure if Mauricio Pochettino is gonna be on the on the field as the coach for the United States men, but I do like the hire. I wanted them to go outside with a outside coach, not an American coach, and I like the fact that they hired him, and I like the fact that he's gonna get the most out of his players, and he's gonna go ahead and he's not gonna look, man. No disrespect to the MLS, but he ain't bringing no MLS players, bro. He's gonna bring the best players that deserve to be there on the field. And let's keep it real. In order for you to be a successful soccer team, you have to go with the guys that play in Europe. I don't want to disrespect MLS, but you can't. Maybe one or two, but you can't fill a squad with like 5 or 6 MLS players. One of the issues that the United States man has is that they don't have a deep bench. They need a bench. As soon as these guys are, you get Pulisic out or you let this guy, the el Morenito, ¿cómo se llama Morenito? Having a complete
Musa.
failure of Musa or the other guy, the one that used to play in Juventus. Damn it.
Yeah, this guy.
Forgot who it was.
Winston,
No, but Weston McKinney.
Winston
There you go.
McKinney.
Weston McKinney. Those guys, when they go to the bench, it's over. Like they don't have anybody out there. And Steven Mbappe. And then if Steven is like, I was just kidding, Frankie. When it comes to soccer, I'm a sucker. No, you know what? I like that you brought up Canada because I mean it's a good point to bring up the United States because me and my brother had not talked about the United States. And second of all, it's actually interesting that the United States is playing Canada this weekend. So I gotta remind myself to keep track. And this is why I want to bring. I know we're going a little bit over time, but Nick, I wanted to ask you for your opinion, and I want you guys, if you're still on the chat board, let me know, or watching on X or on Twitch or whatnot. Nick, I've been getting a lot of fans, a lot of my friends, and I don't know if you have this conversation with your friends, but there's I'm having an issue here, and you tell me if you feel the same way. I represent Colombia. I love Colombia. That's my hometown. That's who I'm gonna root for 100%. My second team is the United States. I live in the United States. I love the United States. I'm here, so I'm gonna root for the United States. I don't root for the United States when they play against Colombia. You do the same thing, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm finding out that there's a lot of people that are born in other countries that support their team, but they don't support the United States, but yet live in the United States. I've had friends that are Argentinian, that are Colombian, that are Uruguayos, that they all go and say, hey, look, I support Uruguay, I support Colombia, I support Argentina, I support Chile, I support all these. But when you ask them, okay, well, do you support the United States? And they say, no, I don't support the United States, but yet they live in this country. So this is a very, very interesting question. Do you agree that living in the United States should matter whether you root for them or you don't?
It shouldn't matter.
Do you think they should root for the United States, or are you okay with them not rooting for the United States?
If they were born in the United States and they have parents, a cultural background of other foreign country, and you don't root for the United States, then yeah, there's a problem there. But if you were born in another foreign country and you come to this country and you support your own country, then I mean, I don't blame you.
I have a problem with it, man. And you guys can tell me what you want. I might get a little bit of backlash for it, but I'm the type of person that says, "Hey, look, man. If I'm born in Uruguay, if I'm born in Colombia, if I'm born in Argentina, whatever, and I'm born in any of these countries, and they're playing soccer in the World Cup and they're not playing the United States, okay, I'm gonna root for my country no matter what. If they're playing the United States, I'm gonna root for my country. But then if my team gets eliminated, or they're playing a different team and the United States is playing another team, I'm gonna root for the United States. I live in this country. Like, no offense, and I hope people don't get offended, but in Spanish, I feel like tú eres un arrepentido. And I'm telling you, I mean, it might come across mean, but for me, what are you doing? I mean, with all due respect, living in this country and not supporting the United States soccer team. I mean, this is a very controversial topic, but it's the truth. Why should you not root for them? Like, if they're playing your team, I 100% agree. Don't go for the United States. That's your team. But if they're not playing your team, if all your teams are eliminated and you got the United States and we live in this country, why wouldn't you root for them? Like, I just don't get it. Like, why would people just say, no, I'm not going to root for them? And that's what kind of bothers me. Steven wrote this. He says, it's like the Gators and UM. You're a Gators fan, but live in Miami. So your second team is the Hurricane. It's okay, Frankie. You can jump on the bandwagon. I'm going to tell you what. I go for the Florida Gators because I graduated from Florida. So I went to the University of Florida, graduated there and everything. So I'm a Gator fan for that. Would I root if, let's say, Florida does not make it, Florida State doesn't make it, let's say none of the teams in Florida make it except the University of Miami, and it's the University of Miami versus, I don't know, whoever it is, Georgia. Would I go for the University of Miami? I will tell you this. 100% I would go for the University of Miami. The only thing that pisses me off is UK fans. That's why I get upset. But if you guys didn't talk crap and didn't say a whole bunch of stuff about the Florida Gators, then I would go for you guys. I would honestly be like, okay, look, I'm gonna go for the Gators. I'm gonna go for the University of Miami. I hope the University of Miami wins. But the problem is, if you guys win, then you're gonna talk so much crap to me and to my brother, to everybody who's not a Canes fan, that's what kind of throws me away from rooting for you guys. But if there was no hostility, no smack talk, of course I would root for the University of Miami. I live in Miami as well. But when it comes to soccer, dude, like, why? Why are people so hesitant to root for the United States? And it's soccer, Nick. It's
You know
soccer.
why? I'll never forget what a European guy told me. Europeans don't like the United States. They rather root for. They say the United States wins in everything, in every sport, except for soccer. So I think a lot of people see it that way. Even though we live here, we don't live. It's not like the United States gives us a free pass and we live here free. You know, we work our asses off and we chose that life, and that's just another discussion. But
Yeah,
regardless,
but we could have done that in our countries.
I mean, yeah, Frank, but I mean, I mean, you find it a problem. I really don't. I mean, that's your cultural background. It's not their fault that they live here.
I asked my friend who's Colombian, why would you go for would you go for the United States? She's like, no. And I'm like, why aren't you going for the United States if they're not playing Colombia? She's like, because the United States doesn't give any effort or prove to me that they're passionate like in our countries. So I even asked her, would you, so then let me ask you this. So if the United States is playing, let's say a random ass Mexico, she's like, I would root for Mexico. I said, are you serious? You would root for Mexico, but you live in the United States? Like, dude, that's disrespectful. I mean, I might be wrong, and I just feel like, what is it to a person? It's like when we had Danny, and when Danny went ahead and he said, "No, I don't root for the United States." Why? You live in the United States. They're not playing Uruguay. Uruguay is a great team. They're your team. Congratulations. Go with them all the way. But if they're not playing against Uruguay, why wouldn't you? What's the hostility against the United States soccer team? Why do we not root for them? Why can't we be united? We all flock to this country. We're all immigrants in this country. Why in soccer can't we just go ahead? And I can understand a European guy. I understand Europeans. Yeah, they won like we win everything. I understand that. But I just don't understand why, living in this country, you wouldn't support the country that you live in. It's like if I was living, I'll give you an example. Let's say I was living in, I don't know, Germany, let's say. And I've lived in Germany for 5, 6, 7 years. And I'm still living there. Obviously, I'm going to root for Colombia. Obviously, I'm going to root for the United States because I lived here for many years and I'm still American. But I'm going to then root for Germany because I've been living in Germany and I like Germany. So I'm going to be rooting for Germany because I live there. I'm not going to hate them. But that's just me. I've always felt that way. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I'm right, but I mean, the more and more I listen to a lot of people, the more and more I'm getting shocked and getting surprised that everybody's saying, "Nah, man, screw the United States. I don't care about them." I don't know, man. Steven says, "But that's what we do. But that's what we do. That's what you do. That's what your brother does. If you guys would have won, we would." Easy saying same crap about you guys. Don't maybe it was a lot of you would be, I don't know. I didn't understand it too well, Steven. Sorry about that. What were you gonna say, Nick?
Hey man, everyone has their own thing. I mean, we're not. I mean, I was born. Every time people ask me, "Hey, where are you from?" I say I was born in the United States, but my blood runs Colombia because both of my parents are Colombian. And so I don't say that I'm Colombian. I say that I'm American, but I have Colombian background in me, just so that everyone can be clarified, you know. And I'll root for the United States and I'll root for the Colombian soccer team. If I lived, let's say, if I lived in, like you said, Germany, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't give a fuck about Germany. I live there because I work hard in Germany. It's not because Germany gave me a free pass. I work hard in Germany, and lifestyle there is my type of style, and whatever it is, what it is, and that's just who I am. That's my representation. But I have to owe Germany support because I live there. Nah, dude. Nah.
Okay. I mean, that's a different perspective. For me, if I'm tuning into soccer, obviously, if I move to another country, I'm gonna be tuning into soccer in that country most likely.
A lot of foreigners in Europe live here in the United States, and you think they're gonna root for the United States to win something? I doubt it.
But then, if you have kids, don't have them play for the United States. Then
That's another topic, sir. But
this topic will continue. We will have more discussions about this because this is a very controversial topic, and I feel like we need to talk about it. I feel like if you're not rooting for the United States team and you live in this country, and I'm not talking about you live maybe 1 year or 2 years, okay, I could get that. But if you've lived here for 10+ years and you're not rooting for the United States, or you went to school here, you pretty much grew up here. Let's just say. And again, I'm not trying to knock on Danny, but Danny's a good example. I know Danny because I know Danny went to high school here and not play soccer here and all that stuff. Why wouldn't he root for the United States if he pretty much his whole life he's pretty much lived here? Same thing with my friend Bridget. She's lived here for many years already. Why wouldn't she root for the United States if you've lived here for 10+ years, 15+ years? And again, you don't have a second favorite team. Like, I could understand if you have a second favorite team, be like, okay, you know what? I love Colombia and I love, Argentina, let's say. Great. But it's that's not the case. That's not the case. Like, I don't get it. I find it kind of like messed up that people are not rooting for them. And again, to Danny's defense, he did go ahead and say I'll root for Inter Miami because I live in Miami. So he did say that. But for me, I just found it a little bit awkward that he went that route. And again, he's not the only one. I've had other friends of mine that have been saying the same thing. I don't root for the United States, but yet they lived here for 10+ years, 15+ years. But again, to each his own. And we'll just move on. Sir, anything else you wanted to talk about when it comes to soccer? I know we went a little bit over past the 2 hour mark, so I don't want to.
No, man, I'm just excited for the international play, and we'll see how each league moves on. Soccer just started, so it's just nice to see that, And obviously, the Champions League schedule came out. We kind of have a good idea what each club, 8 teams are going to play, and then from there on, league play, we'll see who's in first place, second place, all the way down to 36.
Yeah, we'll dig deep a little bit more next week. I know this week, I mean, the show has lasted a little bit long because we talked a lot about the college football game and the Dolphins segment as well. But I want to thank everybody that tuned in, everybody who listened to us on Twitch, everybody who listened to us on YouTube, on X, on Facebook, everybody on the chat board. I saw Steven out there, no doubt, always coming through, representing. Chad also came on the chat board. I think anybody else Sean, actually, Sean is another one that actually stayed there. Also, don't forget to follow Sean's his channel, Stanley Media House Network. Me and him do the podcast on Tuesdays for the wrestling. And Nick, where can the fans find you?
Yo, you guys can find me on Twitch, Detrapia with 3 O's. I like to stream sometimes. And you can also follow me on X at That Way Nick.
Absolutely. And as for myself, you guys are more than welcome to follow me at Frankie Fresco. Obviously, the IGR Mixmaster 2024 champion this year. And then, obviously, if you want to follow me don't forget to follow us on the YouTube channel. It's on the Frankie Fresco channel. And then on social medias, you could find me on Fresco Music. And again, me and my brother did the predictions. That's why it kind of took a little bit longer than expected. If you guys want to shoot us your predictions of what the Miami Dolphins record is going to be this year, shoot me a DM or tweet it to me or whatever next to on my X or on my Instagram, and I'll take into account. I think No Doubt said he was going to send me a message as well through X, so it'll be cool to keep a track. And at the end of the year, we'll compare everybody. And like I said, I appreciate Steven. You were a team player, and like I said, maybe we could make a pot out of it next year and see who's the closest one. Any last words before we head on out, sir?
No, sir. Just I like to thank everyone who tunes in on a weekly basis. And don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button.
Absolutely. And also, Nick, thank you, man. I know it's hard every week to do a show and be consistent. We've been doing 37 episodes, bro. So I really, really do appreciate you. And
37 weeks.
And we haven't, and I think in the 37 weeks, I think we've only missed like maybe 2 or 3 shows. And on top of that, I think maybe I've done maybe 1 or 2, maybe like 2 shows without you. So I really appreciate your commitment, and I appreciate you guys, everybody who tunes in. People say doing a podcast is easy. It isn't, man. I do a lot of work into this. Look at the things that I try to do to add, because we're trying to get more and more. We're trying to grow our channel. We want you guys to show us as much love as possible, and we want you guys to be entertained just like we do. And putting these extra little perks here and there is for you guys. And I take the time to do it, and hopefully you guys appreciate it. And like I said, I hope you guys like the hype video. I'll post it on my social media and share it out there. And that's what we're here for. We're Dolphin fans, and we're also soccer fans, and just sports fans in general. And to all you Canes fans, again, much respect. You guys beat us fair and square. I'll take the L on that one. All right, guys. Till next time, episode 37 in the books. We'll see you next week for episode 38. And that is done. Peace.
Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.